Liberty and justice for all.
Uncharacteristically, I don't have anything tonight, so we'll ask the city manager.
No comments.
No comments? We'll call the roll.
Mayor Peterson.
Here.
Councilman Thurley.
Here.
Craig.
Here.
Alexander. Here. Iden. Here. Borzakowski.
Here.
Double.
Here.
Under the petitions, requests, and communications, item 3.1 is the Winona Schools Global Trot 5K request for Saturday, May 3rd.
Move to approve the request. Second that.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Pam. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.2 is a request to hold the run by the Ridgeway Community School at the Westlake Trail on Saturday, May 31st.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jerry, seconded by Michelle. Any discussion? None? We'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.3 is a request for the placement of the Purple Heart Monument on the north side of the band shell at Lake Park.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jerry, seconded by Paul. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.4 is a request by Councilman Double.
We have a resolution, I'm requesting and putting in motion that we send a letter to the State Arts and Cultural Heritage Board requesting them that they deny future funding for the Winona Frozen Film Festival organizers because of the negative portrayal our community has received in the national media. And I placed that in as a motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? Hearing none. Move on.
Under unfinished business, item 4.1 is the proposed park signage.
Move to approve the,
Sorry, George.
okay, motion to approve the sign guidelines as outlined.
I'll second.
Motion by George, seconded by Michelle. Further discussion? We talked about this at the pre-council meeting 2 weeks ago and had consensus, so we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 4.2 is the sign and banner schedule. I would note that for the first half of the year, we are going to continue to use the Wyndham Park signage until the new ones are installed. And one change in the date for the Women's Resource Center Garden Tour, the dates would be June 30th through July 14th.
I'd move to approve the list.
Motion by
Second
Michelle, seconded by Pam. Discussion? George?
Yeah, just a question, where it states banner, is that the one that hangs on Mankato Avenue? Okay.
Other questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 7.1 is council concerns.
We'll start with Al tonight.
Thank you. I didn't have anything until last night when I got a call from one of the constituents in the first ward expressing continuing concern about wood-burning appliances in his neighborhood. And we've dealt with that. We've talked about that a few years ago. We had a extensive seminar with some experts that came down and basically said, well, wood-burning really is not a dangerous health issue, but it is not the best thing to do. And we've dealt with this almost every winter. There aren't all that many wood burners around anymore, but what I'd like staff to do is to look at not only continuing the ban on outdoor wood burning appliances that we have, but also to look at phasing out the existing ones over a period of time. I understand there are some communities that have done that over a period of time, and I would look at ways that they have successfully done that and perhaps adopt them here in Winona, so eventually we can limit any wood-burning appliances to recreational and fireplace activities. That's my comment.
Thank you, Al. Jerry?
Well, only had one thing, now I have two. If and when that does come up, I'm gonna be interested and I'll oppose it.
Okay.
Since we were talking about signs earlier, and I won't give the name of the signs, but small red signs that have been popping up over the weekend, I'm sure, and maybe staff has already taken care of this, but if not, if they can call the number on that sign and tell them that they're in the wrong locations all about town.
Now, there's one in Wyndham Park.
I noticed that.
It was reported to inspections this
I figured it
afternoon.
probably already was, so thank you.
Nothing tonight.
Okay. Paul?
I just would remind everybody that the precinct caucuses are tomorrow night. The DFL party is at the senior high school, and the Republicans are at the middle school. And the Independence Party is at Northrop Community Education Center in Rochester. And those that start at 7 o'clock. And it's the first step of democracy.
Thank you. Pam?
Yes, a couple of weeks ago, on January 13th, I went to a meeting in La Crescent. It was a meeting with Congressman Tim Walz's representative, and we were to talk about safety issues around the oil trains that carry oil from the Bakken oil fields in North Dakota. This was soon after the big Castleton, North Dakota explosion. A lot of people were concerned and still are concerned. A few dozen people came to the meeting, and they included Winona Fire Chief Kurt Biddle, people from the county planner, people from the refuge, people from the Houston County Defenders Organization, and other concerned citizens. Shortly after that, 2 days after that, Congressman Walz called for a hearing by the Federal Transportation Committee to examine safety issues around these oil trains. I called Walz's office today and heard that the hearing has not been scheduled yet, and there's no news on that one, but it still is a top concern, and people regularly still talk to me about this issue. Another thing that came out of this meeting was that I learned a lot more about what Winona is doing to train and organize around emergency possibilities. And Fire Chief Kurt Biddle has agreed to come and give us a perspective on that.
Mayor, Council, just to give you a real quick update, we've been working with CP Rail for quite a number of years. CP Rail has been more than gracious with trainers, equipment to actually bring into Winona that we get to work on. So it's been an ongoing process working with CP Rail. Right around the first of the year, we did contact CP Rail, and we have a hazmat tank car class that's coming April 8th, 9th, and 10th. It'll be our goal to include a number of other fire departments along the CP rail line. So hopefully we'll have a pretty good group of firemen here in Winona. Hopefully the 9th is what we're looking at. So we also are sending one of our firefighters to a hazmat class sponsored by CP Rail. That'll be coming up the tail end of April. So we have been aware of the increased oil traffic, and I believe we're going to see a lot more oil coming through Winona. Hopefully we don't run into any problems. The speed limits and everything else that are earmarked for the city of Winona should hopefully protect us a bit. So the meeting that me and Pamela were at was a good meeting, and hopefully we'll see some changes concerning the rail cars in the future. The fire department is staying on top of this, so, and I hope I filled Pamela in quite a bit on our trip down there, so. Any questions?
Chief, I have a question.
Yeah.
As chief, is your biggest concern the oil cars, or are there other bigger concerns?
For years and years, it's always been chlorine. We've always trained for chlorine. We are privy to the top number 25 products that come through Winona, and typically we curtail our training to the top 10, kind of shoving the odds around. So, but chlorine's always been a big concern. Crude oil's got a lot of attention lately due to its flammability and so forth, but it is probably our number one product that's coming through Winona. So training has been and will be earmarked towards the oil for a while, so.
Are there other questions, George?
Chief, if you would know, what is the maximum speed that they can come through town at? If you would
I
know.
want to say 20, 25. We talked about it at a meeting here last week, 25. I'm not 100% sure on that, but there is an earmarked speed limit through the city. A lot of the major incidences involving the oil have been, rail cars that have broken free. The Quebec one was actually, I believe they had a 1.3% grade, and they had a engine fire. Then they moved the train again and abandoned the train, and then it went down the 1.3 grade. I'm not sure what the speeds were when it actually got in there. But the South Dakota one, they were probably moving along pretty good, so. Yeah.
Would liquid gases be more the biggest concern over liquid gas?
The way I understand it, the Bakken oil through fracking, and this is what I heard at the meeting me and Pamela were at, it uses a heating process. So if you were to distill, and this isn't 100% right, but if you take a barrel of oil and you distill it, you get your PVCs, you get your, at one time, regular gasoline. The more temperature you put distilling it, you get your diesels, and then you get your unleadeds, premium unleadeds. And then sulfur is typically, I believe, 2,000 degrees to distill sulfur out of it. So if you look back when they passed the Clean Air Act and they wanted to get sulfur out of diesel, theoretically it's impossible to distill sulfur out of diesel because it distills at such a low temperature. Say it's 400 degrees to get diesel out of a barrel of oil. It's 2,000 degrees to get sulfur out of the product. So if you remember what happened to diesel 10, 12 years ago, the price just skyrocketed. They actually had to use additives to take care of the sulfur. The flammability of this oil, I think, is probably caused just due to the fracking that's done the process, the heating process. So when the oil actually comes down, I think we're looking at more products that have been distilled out of that oil just based on the fracking. Hence, it's probably more flammable than your typical other barrel of oil. So,
I was thinking more of the gases like anhydrous ammonia that would evaporate and it's much harder to contain.
yeah, and a good example that'd be chlorine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a concern. And really, any product that travels through the city of Winona, we consider it a top priority. So, yes, I agree with that. But I couldn't throw it on a teeter-totter with crude oil.
Other questions for the chief? Well, thank you very much.
Yep.
And thank you, Pam, for attending the meeting. George?
Okay. Last week, Tuesday, at the President's State of the Union speech, I don't exactly know the words, but I knew what he was saying. So he talked about that this is the first time that our country has, according to his words, that we were able to move away from using foreign oil. And he says we're leaning now more towards natural gas. He talked about extracting this gas from the ground, the proper way. And then there was tax breaks given if industries that build new, if they would go to natural gas, something on that order. But he did make reference to it. And today I was waiting at a stoplight and a semi pulls next to me and it says this truck is powered now by new natural gas technology. So like I say, the oils and the fracking and the sand is still going to be with us for quite some time as we move forward, as it's getting to be more and more of a demand for natural gas. And also, I'd just like to wish Jerry Rapinski, as we know him as Ripsky or Ripper, wish him well as he continues on with the battle of his health problems. And then I'd just like to offer condolences to the Mary Kinsel family and the Scarborough families. Mary, who passed away here a week ago, very lovingly lady. And also to the family of Evelyn Lushik. Evelyn, longtime Fourth Ward resident, passed away, and we know her most from her years when she was able to tend bar behind Sloppy Joe's, and she was a very, very good storyteller. She knew a lot of wisdom. So condolences to both those families as they continue to move on in their healing process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the consent agenda, there are 5 items. The approval of the minutes from the January 21st meeting, the final adoption of an ordinance to eliminate the handicap stalls, a claim against the city of Winona on behalf of Cynthia Porter, a claim against the city on behalf of Alex Kendall, and a claim against the city by Robert Rutsky.
Move to approve the consent business.
Second.
Motion by Al, seconded by Paul. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Mayor, I move we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.